Hey guys, welcome to my patch 25.23 tier list. There have been over 10 junglers slash top laners adjusted. This is a huge patch. This is going to be one hella long tier list. We're going to go through the changes, talk about those junglers, and then we're going to talk about the entire meta as a whole. This is going to be one of those longer tier list videos that I haven't made in a while because a lot of shit has gone down. Let's jump right in and let's take a look at some of these changes and some of what's going on with this new patch right here. Hey guys, quick announcement. I'll be hosting another fundamentals event on Sunday, November 23rd. In about an hour, I'll break down all the key fundamentals that have helped me maintain Challenger for 5 years and hit rank 2, 1871 LP in NA. The catch is this class will not be on YouTube or any socials, so make sure to go click the link down below and register now so you do not miss it. Rek'Sai has been nerfed. Honestly, Rek'Sai is pretty strong. I wouldn't say it was OP or overtuned, but definitely in higher elos. Really strong. Good change. Aatrox, Ambessa, Cho'Gath, Jayce, Malphite, Ornn, Riven, Sion, Skarner, and Volibear. All of these champions have been adjusted to be a bit quicker in their clear speed. So, pretty much, I'm pretty sure maybe 7 out of these 10 champions are going to be really irrelevant and aren't going to have much meaning in the meta. It'll be like fun to experiment the first week of this new patch, but overall they're going to be like really irrelevant. That includes the Fizz changes as well. Like honestly, they're not going to be that good. It'll be fun, but they're not going to be that good. Now there are a few junglers that are going to be substantially better than the rest, and we'll talk about those guys in a second. What I really want to hit on, guys, is the state of jungle right now as a whole. So pretty much, if we were to look at the state of jungle right now, a lot of what's happening is you have what we call a super straightforward full clear meta focused around objectives. Both junglers clearing towards either top or bot, and you're really hard focused on full clearing no matter what. A lot of the time, the state of jungle in the past has been, you have two options. You can gank or you can farm. And yes, you can still gank, yes, you can still make plays, but the reason why ganking is a lot less powerful than it was before is because they made the amount of EXP you get from kills lowered. They made the amount of EXP you get from minions lowered. They also made the amount of repeat kills in terms of EXP and gold lower. So the gold and EXP that you get from enemies when you kill them and from the waves is significantly lower, which is why we're kind of forced in on this full clear meta right now. The reason why this is so important to understand is because if you're deciding on a champion to play right now, if you're deciding on what's powerful, what's good, you need to take a look at the list of champions I normally put up there. When choosing a champion, you need to make sure that they clear efficiently or they massively excel at something else. So I just want you guys to understand that that's the current state of our meta. If you can clear Dragon fast, you're happy. You can clear Grubs fast, you're happy. You can clear Camps fast, you're very happy. Alrighty, so to jump into the actual changes really quickly, I just want to highlight every single champion as to the really quick changes. Aatrox got more damage on his passive from the sweet spots with the Q, and then now his passive will do more damage to camps as you level up. Very powerful, very powerful stuff. Ambessa gets a little more damage on her Qs, so it speeds her clear up by a few seconds. Cho'Gath, this one, I mean, you get a little bit more damage on your E. Yippee. It's still Cho'Gath. Mundo, this one's like pretty like irrelevant overall. You're just dealing some more damage. So doesn't really affect jungle. Fizz, on the other hand, got a little bit of like, you get some more damage, again, damage, W gets more damage, passive gets more damage, everything gets more damage onto the camps, and Jayce has more damage on camps as well. Really interesting, both of his Qs deal more damage to camps. We have Malphite, you also have more damage on your camps. Ornn, also more damage on your camps with your W. Rek'Sai got nerfed a little bit. Riven's Q does more damage to freaking camps. Sion's Q does more damage to camps. Holy shit, even Skarner got a little bit of a AD growth buff and then a little bit of a Q cooldown buff. This makes this champion a little bit stronger as well. And then the last one is Volibear got 3 more AD, which makes him a little bit happier. And then Sunfire got buffed by a bit, but we won't talk about that here. So, those are the changes. Now let's jump into the actual tier list for this patch. Guys, I'm going to start off and say the Zaahen champion is not very balanced. I will very adamantly say that Zaahen is worthy of at least A tier, maybe A plus tier. I don't think he's broken enough to say he's like SSZZ tier. He's very powerful, very strong, but a lot of you guys are building him wrong. You aren't building Sundered Sky, Black Cleaver. You aren't building him Bruiser. You're building shit like Trinity Force, Borg, all this other random crap. You're not building the right things whatsoever. You absolutely need to be buying the right items on Zaahen to make him powerful. And even then, some compositions absolutely shit on Zaahen. Very strong champion overall, but I don't think it's like OP to where like anyone will just 1v9 on the champion. Next champion here though is going to be Aatrox. Aatrox is the same thing. I love this champion and I'm a diehard for this champion, but I'm also not a liar. I don't want to give you guys fake news, fake champions that won't mass produce LP for you. Aatrox is not one of those champions that you can easily pick up, and it's not one of those champions that you can easily win fights with. You need to land the sweet spot with your Q. You need to use your E correctly. You need to know how to kite correctly. You need to know how to play fights very cautiously and patiently. If you can get all those things down, the clear is insane. The amount of damage you do to the camps, neutral specifically, is also insane. Aatrox, very powerful. And I would highly recommend, if you want to one-trick a champion that's probably not going to get touched for a while, you can definitely play Aatrox. Now, the next one here is going to be Ambessa. Ambessa is also in the A tier. I would argue not S tier again. Like, these champions are really strong. And they arguably should never even enter the A tier. But because of these jungle changes, they are now entering the A tier. So Ambessa is one of those champions that is really good at farming efficiently and then making nice plays when she has her items. So Ambessa counterintuitively does not like fighting, but you would think that, oh, if I'm playing lane Ambessa, I want to fight all the time. When you're playing jungle Ambessa, you're actually aiming for 10 CS per minute. You're playing her like a farming jungler, and a lot of people don't understand this. That's what bridges the gap between her being an S and A tier champion. That's also why I always say, like, Ivern, although really powerful, not an S tier champion, because you just need so much knowledge and depth. Ambessa is one of those champions where you need to really truly understand how to 1v9 to make Ambessa powerful. But if you can do that, yeah, she can be S tier champion. Does so much damage, clears so quickly. Very OP in that sense. Alright, now the next champion we have here is going to be Mr. Cho'Gath. I'm sorry guys, this champion is useless. I will have to say that Cho'Gath he's cool. I'm glad he can clear quickly, but he's a piece of shit. You can't really gank, really easy to dodge your Q. Even if you power farm your Cho'Gath, like, you're not clearing that quickly, you're still playing Cho'Gath. You don't really have good items to buy in the meta, and you're playing Cho'Gath. So the only thing right now that Cho'Gath has going for him is the fact that you don't really know how to play against Cho'Gath jungle. It's very unpredictable, and it's very surprising, and it can sort of noob stomp really dog shit people. But once it starts joining the meta, and once people start, oh, I've seen Cho'Gath jungle a few times now, I know what's going to happen to me, you won't find as much success. All of these junglers, you'll have some success because of this element of freshness and uniqueness. People aren't going to expect Zaahen to one-shot you, or Aatrox to one-shot you in the jungle, or Ambessa to one-shot you, or Cho'Gath. But over time, guys, people will start to realize, oh, well, I can just invade Cho'Gath whenever. I can just, like, do all X, Y, and Z thing to Cho'Gath and all these other champions whenever. Alright, the next jungler that has been adjusted by a bit here is going to be Jayce. I will say that this champion, although you might think he's a little strong, I don't think he's strong at all. I don't know. Maybe you guys think he's weak too. This champion just takes too much skill, too much like, um, it just takes too much energy. It's like playing Nidalee or Elise. It's just a little too difficult, I would say. Now here's the thing. If you go the lethality build, then it's a lot less forgiving. If someone creates, and maybe I'll do some experimenting myself, but if someone creates a Bruiser Jayce build, and you were to play Bruiser Jayce, he might be a B or A tier champion. But now you're playing Bruiser Jayce, it's the only catch. But I could see that being a little more playable, and we're talking about forgiveness. So when you're put behind on a champion, how forgiving is the champion when you win fights, whenever you're doing anything? That's what I really care about. You know, how easy is it for the champion to still play the game, even when you're really, really, really far behind? And Jayce is like, it's not amazing. Alright, the next champion we have here is Fizz. I haven't played this champion, but my assumption is going to be he's like C tier, even arguably D tier. Guys, why would you play Fizz when you can play Qiyana, when you can play Zed, when you can play literally anything else in the fucking world? Okay? It's just like, it's just not good. Maybe I'll eat my words when I play the champion and I like 1v9 stomp games. Maybe I'll eat my words. But my idea of Fizz right now is not the greatest. I don't recommend him at all. But mark my words, like maybe I'm wrong. You know, I'm always happy to be wrong. Now, Ornn is one of those champions that, although he now has a fucking insane clear speed, you're still playing Ornn. I would say that this champion lacks a lot, but also has a lot. You don't really have great gank pressure, so all you can do is play for level 6 and then gank after that. You don't really like have a lot of fighting potential unless you have teammates with you. I literally think this champion is just a subpar Nunu, but has much better team fighting. So you have a lot of shittier early game than Nunu, but your team fighting is a lot better. So if you're looking for a tank to play, yeah, I mean, Ornn's great, but why play Ornn when you can play like Zac, for example, if you really want to tank? Or Nunu, for example. So much better of champions. So I think Ornn is one of those fakest champions in the meta. Now the next champion that we have here is going to be Mr. Malphite. So Malphite is one of those champions that is very similar to Ornn. It's a very linear champion. You just tap your ult and you pray. You probably go full AP. I wouldn't really recommend tank. You can go tank though depending on the comp. I need to experiment with Malphite some more. Maybe his clear speed is so much faster now that he can absolutely 1v9 stomp games. But my assumption is that champion's not going to be that amazing. He's going to be still like a pretty meh champion overall. Alright, the next champion we have here is going to be Riven. And Riven goes straight back into the B category. She could technically be an A tier champion as well. I need to experiment with her myself. I don't really know exactly how she does when it comes to clearing camps or neutrals, let alone like the fights. So my assumption with Riven is she's just going to be a B tier champion, but she might have potential to be an A tier champion. I just think that Riven overall lacks in a lot of ways where like a lot of ways you dominate on Riven are through lane and through beating people 1v1, but in the jungle you can't really do that. You don't really get all the opportunity to do that. But I think if you go like a lethality build, and I think you start like one-shotting people, it's going to be a huge surprise factor. I think if you are finding a lot of success with Riven, it is because of that surprise factor as of right now. Alright, the next champion we have here is going to be Mr. Sion. So, the thing is, I think Sion has a lot of potential to be a really good champion. As you've seen, a lot of people make this champion work. I think you need to go full AD, and I think you need to learn how to play like the boss does. Like, the way he plays is beautiful on this champion. If you learn how to play full lethality AD Assassin Sion, I think this champion has a lot of potential. If you play him like a bruiser, I think he's more like a B tier champion, not as great. Alright, the next champion we have here is going to be Mr. Skarner. I think Skarner now, with as many buffs as he's gotten, is upwards towards B tier. Like, this champion just gotten buff after buff after buff after buff. There's just no way that Skarner is allowed to be this OP, this powerful. He's just simply too strong. I will have to argue that Skarner has some potential. I think as long as you are emphasizing camps and you're not just spam ganking, Skarner does great with gold and resources in solo queue. You can actually make a lot happen on the champion. Okay, if you have your items, Skarner can become unkillable and also deal a unbelievable amount of damage. Alright, the next champion we have here is Mr. Volibear. Now, the Storm King has been hit multiple times, but now they finally gave him a little bit of a buff. I will say he's definitely not in the same place he was before, which he was S plus tier. Now he's definitely in like the A tier. He's alright. He's cool. He got some more AD, so he's clear is not as bad. But his E losing so much damage fucking sucks. But they've kind of balanced him out at the very least. I will say that Volibear has a lot more playability now, especially in the lower elos. He didn't lose much damage on any of the fights. So Volibear is still like really stat checky champion. That's extremely fun to play when you consider him like a stat checker. Alright guys, let's talk about our S tier champions now. Forget all the changes. What we're going to talk about is 3 OP champions: Briar, Diana, and fucking Nocturne. All 3 of these champions are broken and will print LP for you if you want to mass produce wins and just abuse really strong champions right now. Play these 3. Briar is just overall one of the best stat checkers in the game. Really straightforward as long as you learn the concepts. And if you guys watch the collab with Logan Jungle on Briar, you will learn all the tips and tricks you need to know to absolutely stomp games on this champion. She's actually so broken. I just did not know so many things. Like, did you guys know your ulti will always latch onto the target no matter what until they die or you die? So even if they Zhonya's, even if they EQ, even if they Fizz E, you're latched onto them. It gives you true sight, so if Kha'Zix sends an ulti, you will still see him. Like, all these small things about Briar makes Briar broken. She's not just as simple as you would think. Now, the next champion, Diana, she is just in a great spot with 2 OP builds, almost 3 OP builds. And the reason why Diana is so great is because you have fast tempo all around the map, and your damage is kind of insane. So if you're squishy, you can either go Nashor's, Rabadon's, Shadow Flame, Zhonya's full damage, or you can go Proto Belt, Riftmaker, Liandry's, Bloodletters, tanky damage, or you can go like extra tanky, like Liandry's, Riftmaker, Bloodletters, and then like Jack Show, and it's like you just have so many options in this champion. All of them are really broken overall. If you do go Proto Belt, I highly recommend you take Red Smite. It's a pretty nice combo because you got to slow them with the Proto Belt. And then the last champion here is Nocturne. Nocturne is Giga broken as long as you understand one key thing, which is there are 2 builds to Nocturne. There's Profane Hydra into Axiom Arc, into Hexblades, tanky Bruiser build onward. And then there's the Stridebreaker, Hexblades, Bruiser build. If the enemies are very squishy, please go the Assassin Nocturne build. You can still go Conqueror, but go the Assassin Nocturne build. Nocturne will always be OP champion. That's just the state of the game. Nocturne's just broken. Alright, the last S tier champion I want to include here as kind of like a not very normal S tier champion that's here, but because we're trying to talk about meta and LP potions, it's going to be Jax. So right now, there's going to be a lot of these junglers that just hard get countered by Jax. Jax just counters a lot of what is in the S tier, what is in the A tier, and that normally is how the meta shifts. As other champions get better, random champions start getting really interesting in the meta, and Jax is one of those. They also buffed Jax a few times in terms of his clear speed and his dueling, so that's made Jax really relevant in the meta right now. You don't really want to pick him into like hard AP champions. I mean, you can. There's some matchups that are like really miserable for you as Jax, but overall, this champion is very broken. Alright guys, I'm gonna go through the A tier champions now. We're gonna go through these champions a little bit quicker, and you'll see the trend with all these champions. They're all gonna be heavy focused on the full clearing. First one on the list here, we have Amumu. Amumu is a slow full clearer, but just 1v9 in team fights. Really straightforward, really easy, and will almost always be an A or S tier champion in my books. No matter what you say to me, no matter what you can argue, this champion will always print LP for you as long as you're willing to put your head down and do your best on the champion. The next champion I have here is going to be Gwen. Gwen is superb right now, really broken champion, absolute LP printer. Watch the collab video as well that I did with Ninki, the rank 1 Gwen, so you can understand the depths of Gwen, and I'll also be able to 1v9 your games and print LP. The champion we have here is Jarvan. Jarvan, although people want to gank a lot on Jarvan, if you try to play Jarvan around 7 to 8 CS per minute, where you farm efficiently for yourself, you'll be able to stomp your games. Again, these farming junglers. Kayn is the same thing. A little bit harder on Kayn to argue that he's like Omega Giga broken. He could even be like a B tier champion right now. He's not amazing. But in lower elos especially, Kayn is still going to reign supreme. Very amazing champion overall. We'd love to see a little bit of Kayn all around. Next champion we have here is Lilia. So Lilia recently just... honestly, Lilia, the big thing about Lilia is she excels into bruisers. And right now, the meta is like, it's just bruiser central. Like, Lilia could arguably be even be an S tier champion. It's just been bruiser central. Okay, so Lilia is getting stronger and stronger and stronger because there's more bruisers in the meta. Next champion we have here is Wukong. Wukong is one of those really powerful champions into bruisers as well. You get a lot of AD from your passive, so you just are really happy into the bruiser meta. And then overall, guys, this champion just excels once you get 2 items. Very, very, very happy on that Wukong champion. Alright, the next champion on the A tier here is going to be Hecarim. Again, follows the same boat. You're full clearing, you're farming, you're really efficient in that way. All these champions are just power farm hungry, and then you have playability into 1v9ing games just based off your champion's kit overall. The next champion that's less of a full clear jungler, these two are less of full clear junglers, but they're still really powerful, are going to be Xin Zhao and Trundle. So these champions just do really good into bruisers. Like right now, we are entering another bruiser meta. Go figure, bruisers are broken. And we are just like, okay, anything that has a chance against bruisers, we're very, very, very happy to play against. Also tanks as well. Like Trundle's very happy against tanks as well. Alright, that's going to be it for our A tier champions that I'd recommend. Now let's move on to our B tier champions. Alright guys, let's talk about our B tier champions here. Right off the bat, I want to hit on Viego. Viego right now, as he is, there's just not much room for him to be powerful because his clear is just too slow nowadays, and playing into bruisers is not that amazing. Viego is just kind of like getting pushed out of the meta as we keep seeing like different champions hop into the meta. I think Viego is still going to be a strong champion as always, but he's just not as powerful as he was in previous states of the champion. The next champion we have here is Mundo. Mundo is probably one of those arguably A tier champions, as long as you're like a one-trick or you know a lot about Mundo. Otherwise, you're going to be running around the map, losing your head, and just inting the game. He's a very resource-intensive champion. I would say the same thing applies to Ygir, the same thing applies to Rengar, the same thing applies to Graves, okay? All these champions so far that I'm listing, we'll include Fiddlesticks here. We can include, yeah, all these champions seem pretty solid. The common trend with these champions is, yes, they have a lot of broken playability, but you need to know how to play for resources, and then you can 1v9 the game and absolutely stomp everything in the world. I actually also add Bel'Veth here to the mix. Bel'Veth also does the same thing, and Kha'Zix as well. Like, these champions are all great. But the thing is, a lot of you guys will go in and you'll take really dog shit fights. So if you guys take really dog shit fights, you're going to hard lose on this champion. You're going to make the champion look weak as fuck. And you're going to just like completely run the game down and absolutely int the entire game. The next notable mention in the B tier here is going to be Nunu. Nunu is and can be an A or S tier champion as long as you're really one-tricking and you really have a lot of good information gathering. A lot of people lack good info gathering, so I would never say Nunu is like an amazing champion because it helps you learn a good skill, but like it's also hard if you don't have that skill. Next champion is going to be like bruiser / fighter champions in the B tier. We're going to put Rek'Sai here, we're going to put Kindred here, we're going to put Warwick here as well, and then even Sylas arguably. All these champions are good bruiser-ish fighters that, like, you can do a lot, but ultimately they're just not too amazing. Ultimately, they just kind of, they're okay. They're just, like, okay champions. Sylas gets a little stronger into melee bruisers as long as you hard play fights really exceptionally. Alright, let's jump into our C tier champions here. We'll go really quickly as well. You have Evelynn here, you have Echo here, you have Elise here. Pretty standard. Ivern, you guys never see these champions at the top. Sadly, they're just going to stay down here eternally. We'll also talk about the B tier champions while we go at it. Lee Sin, Nidalee, just like not really great champions overall. Karthus, Talia, Vi, Olaf, Naafiri, just all pretty shitty champions. Pantheon's like a C tier. All of these champions just fucking really suck. And then Shaco's like a C, Brand's like a C. Yi and Zach, we'll just like sneak them up there real quick. They're B tier champions. They're definitely viable champions. They're not amazing. They're not the worst. I would say that Zach is definitely better than Malphite and Ornn though. Alright guys, overall, hopefully you can see and understand the theme behind this tier list. The theme behind where I'm ranking champions overall. There's two big things that I'm emphasizing. How fast you are clearing and then how easy and powerful you are in the fights. A huge shift in the meta this patch because of all the big jungle changes. If you guys enjoy this tier list, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. A lot of you guys aren't actually subscribed. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Have a good rest of your day, everyone. Bye-bye.